Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My wonderful guest today is Deraney, and Deraney. We're going to be talking about the caregiver and family coaching business that he has, and also going to be talking about his book. I Have What She's Having, which, of course, if anybody's seen When Harry Met Sally, they will actually understand what that is. And I often refer to it myself because I think it's a fantastic saying. So, what he talks about is, why caring for the caregiver isn't selfish, but essential. And this is absolutely true. He has a child on the autism spectrum, and he knows, how challenging it can be. It's not a problem, it's a challenge. We all have challenges that we are dealt with, and it's all a question of how we deal with them. He believes that success happens when we find a better way and unable or unwilling to share it. He found a better way by challenging the status quo and thinking differently. Ultimately, what he brings to the table is a way to contribute and add value to having an impact on the lives of others. He is a caregiving family health coach, founder of the Profit Compassion, empowers caregivers and prioritizes their well-being so they can better support their loved ones with resilience and compassion. As a father of a son with autism spectrum disorder, Drew helps caregivers rediscover balance, strength, and joy in their journey without the big word guilt. And anybody that has any child with challenges, there is a sense of guilt. Could I have done something different, especially for a mother during pregnancy? Could I have done something different? Is it something that I did? For the father, is it in the genes? Is this something hereditary I didn't know about? And I think we have to let all of that go, don't we? Obviously, when you do have people that do consume a great deal of alcohol or drugs through a pregnancy, yes, the repercussions are there. But for the spectrums side of things, it is what it is, and we're here to navigate it as the best we can. But we have to find balance, as you said, being the caregiver and caring of ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. So welcome to the show, Drew.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. It's an honor.
Well, thanks for calling me Sarah. Most people just call me Sarah, so thanks. I like that's actually how I pronounce my name, but most people don't pronounce it that way. Um, I'm going to hit out of the gate because everybody's going to ask us about it. Is the whole Tylenol thing right now,
Right.
right? And it's like, I think anytime you start looking to blame something,
Right.
we talked about this before the show. We all carry genes inside of us, even the plague, right? It's in our
hmm
DNA.
hmm
Anything could be triggered at any time if either the immune system is weak or it just has, that's what it grasps onto. And to kind of look at autism as a disease
mm
or look at it as something, a flaw. I mean, I love the word flawsome. How do we find the awesome in the flaw?
Right.
And how do we look at to navigate in their world rather than demanding they navigate in our world?
Wow.
And so let's address that right now. How do you feel about the old Tylenol thing?
That's a good question. I mean, I have three children, and my wife at the time, she was told by the doctors, if there's pain, take Tylenol. And we trust our caregivers, our providers, and she did take it. And we happen to have one child who has autism and two who do not. And
Mm,
so, I don't think she took any more or less with the
mm,
oldest who has autism. So honestly, I think we have to be careful. Words matter. So if we use
mm.
the word causation, we better have some science to prove that. We can use the word correlation or exacerbate. There's the words are different, and they mean something. So I don't think we need to be looking for a cure for autism because there is none. I don't believe there's a nervous system issues. I believe that each one of us, like you said, have some type of gene in us, and it's triggered by something. So I believe autism is in our DNA, and it comes out, and then it may be exacerbated by environmental factors, but not caused by them. So I think we just need to be careful. And anything you ingest, anything you put into your body, you need to be an educated consumer, no matter what the item
Yes.
is. So I guess I'll stop there.
Yes, causation. People automatically want to go, what's the cause? What's the cause?
Mhm.
And immediately we've got to associate a blame with something. No, we
Right.
don't. No, we don't. We don't have to associate blame with anything. What we do have to do is look at what do we have in front of us and how do we navigate it. And I've interviewed many a parent of autistic children on different levels of the spectrum. And I've
Right.
also interviewed many a person with autism. And there's one common denominator that I have found with people with autism: highly creative,
Hmm.
very selective. All right. Know their triggers, so they know the parameters have to be
Hmm.
safe. They have
Hmm.
chosen friends that they trust and they can let loose with, but
Hmm.
they're not big in the big group socialization.
Right.
They're choosy,
Right.
in other words.
Right.
Um, and they're very focused on what it is they like, they don't like, and what they want to do. I think
Hmm.
there's a lesson for us to be learned from here. Why are we not more choosy of the people that are around us? Why can't we focus in on something that we're passionate about?
Yeah.
Right? Why don't we listen to our own nervous system when it says, I'm feeling afraid, I need time out and seclusion? There's
Hmm.
a lot for us to learn. Just because we think they're defective and we're all
Hmm.
that and a slice of bread, no, I think there's a great deal to be learned from them of how to navigate our own life, because we've taken on so much exterior stuff that is causing a great turmoil interiorly with us. We're overstressed, we're over anxious, we're in depression, we're in anger. And there's
Hmm.
a lot when we're looking at that. Well, you want them to come into our world? Uh-uh.
That's a very good point. Now, I love when I converse with my son. I've learned how to, with having three children, I had to have three different parenting styles anyway. I have learned to try to think like him, and how do I
Yes.
do that? By sitting and listening with him, and even asking him, when this happens, what makes you think that, and how can I best serve you? Because I have learned so much from him. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember I would like with you and I, we could probably go off of three or four topics right one after the other. And I had done that with him once, and he said, "Dad, I can't keep up with three topics at once. Oh, can you please just do one at a time?" And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he was able to feel safe to say that to
Ask
me
that.
and feel vulnerable, and to say it so articulately, I was like, he gave me the why behind the what, and I'm like, oh,
Mm.
of course, absolutely. Let me work on that because I'm not used to doing that. So please make sure you let me know and call me on it if I do that to you. Because to tell you the truth, I'd probably be more productive if I only talked about one thing at a time anyway. You know?
Exactly, exactly. And it gives them the empowerment and the respect to say,
Yeah,
hey, hold on there,
absolutely.
instead of feeling guilty that they can't keep up with you. It's
Hmm.
like, hey, stop ADDing on me and stick with one subject.
Hmm. He's right. Absolutely. Slow down, man.
Which is a good thing for all of us to do, because I think we are taught very
Mhm.
much to navigate, so many balls at once. And then when we drop
Absolutely.
them, we feel, angry or feel less
Mhm.
than because we dropped the ball. Well, stop juggling so many balls.
Yep. Very true. Very true. Yeah, we're taught to live on autopilot, to do all
Mm,
these things by habit, and then we don't give our chances ourselves to stop and think, is what I'm doing healthy? Is what I'm
Mm.
doing a good thing to do? And more often than not, we add stuff to our plate and we don't take things off our plate.
Yes.
And he is very good at teaching me that Dad, when I want to start something new, I look to see what else I'm doing so I can take something off so it doesn't overwhelm me. And I'm like, that is something that we all can learn because we
Absolutely.
rarely take something away, you know?
No, no, we just pile it on, and then, I kind of, I call it the hats, wearing all the hats, and now the head is feeling
Hmm.
very wobbly. And there's
Yeah.
just way too many hats. You can't keep them all on. I promise you, they'll fall,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you'll go with it. So we have to really pay attention. I think there's a lot to be learned from any child or any adult that's on the spectrum of just focusing, paying attention, and we are, as I said, dealing with so many people today with anxiety, and especially look what's going on, just in the world, but especially in
Hmm.
America right now. You're going through a
Yep.
hurricane, you really are,
Yep. Hmm.
and I have faith that America will come out of this hurricane, but not without its destruction,
Right.
and it's going to leave it in the wake, and that means an awful lot of people are going to be post-traumatic, um, distrusting, angry, and how to navigate back. And an awful lot of people are going to become really sick because of this, partly because of Medicaid being cut, and we're going to be dealing with that, but also
Hmm.
partly because of everybody's so afraid right now.
Hmm.
Like this, what's the next thing to drop?
Hmm.
Am I safe going to the grocery store? Am I safe
Right.
here and there? And you can't have a nation that's like this without some sort of combustion going
Right.
on. And
Right.
so, when we talk about caregivers, for people that look after people with autism, Down syndrome, must have a grandchild with Down syndrome,
Hmm.
or anybody that's on the caregiving, I think this is a really important message. Take care of thyself,
Oh, yes.
because if you don't have anything to give anyone else. You're no
Hmm.
good depleted. But if you're not honoring yourself, how can others honor you? You need to know your boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to shut the door and go, I need to replenish. But how do we get people who are of caregiving nature? Because it's very much a nature thing to say, okay, enough is enough. I need to shut the door.
That's a very good question. I think, I mean, for me, it took a lot of not so good, what I call faith shaking life moments for me to,
Mm,
I call it a 2x4 upside the head, for me
mhm,
to kind of notice that I was just going through the motions. Now, there are some people where it only takes a tap on the shoulder and some will whisper in the ear. It all depends
mm,
on how aware we are of ourselves. And like you said, many of us don't know who we are. We don't give
mm.
ourselves a chance to be alone
Right.
and
Too
ask
scared to be.
ourselves, oh my gosh, just if we're alone with no electronics and no people and just sit and think. I mean, I've done it lately a lot, saying, do I truly believe the things that I believe? Are these my
Mm,
beliefs? Are these beliefs that have been passed down to me for years that I've built a habit of doing? And there are a lot of things that we're taught because people want us to be that way, not because it's best for us. And
right.
a lot of us don't question our thoughts and our beliefs. And I think it's about time we do so because I'm not the type of person who reads a headline and believes it. I like to dive deep into the article, find out who wrote it, where they got their information from before I even make a comment on it. And too many people nowadays
The
don't
headliners.
even, they're headliners. They don't
Yeah.
even know who they are. And so to get a caregiver to care about themselves, I think you have to also look at them initially at first as a human being. Are they a self-aware individual to begin with?
Hmm.
And then they
Hmm.
take on the caregiving role where they're still not even, aware of who they are. But I think little things like just giving yourself 5 minutes a day, taking a deep breath, I call it the pause button. I mean, I always tell people have something in your pocket that makes you smile. I mean, I have these little rocks that have these nice sayings on it. This one says conquer from within. This one's in the shape of a cloud, and it says, always find the silver lining.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work in healthcare, and I told the nurses in between talking to patients, you're a caregiver and you need to be all there for your patient. If you carry any negative energy or negative emotion from the previous discussion with the patient, you're doing a disservice to the next patient and to yourself, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to burn out. And so when we're able to take a deep breath, stop and just reflect on what had occurred and say, okay, next time if this happens, I'm going to do it this way. Um, I found that for me to start taking care of myself, I started telling people my story
Mm-hmm.
and I started to heal myself from within. And it was a very, very foreign feeling. I'm like, how am I doing that? And then I realized the strength and the answers come from within. And so
100%.
we better start looking inward. And so that's kind of like what I do. I bring people on in my practice. I see there's three type of people out there, three types of men, three types of women. The first one, man number one or woman number one, has a ton of blind spots, and they don't even see adversity. They just are on autopilot. They just go through life through the motions. And those people, I don't believe I can help. And
Right.
is a man or woman number two, they're the one who sees the adversity, yet they don't take any accountability. They say, I'm the victim, everybody
Mm-hmm.
else is to blame, and they live life just the way they do, no change. And on their deathbed, they got a ton of regrets.
Right.
I don't necessarily, I mean, I'll take those people on,
If they're willing.
but if they're willing, because they have to be willing. The
Yes.
people I am most successful with, and I'm not afraid to say this, are the ones who say man or woman number three, the one who sees the adversity and they finally say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
This is not a barrier. This is an opportunity to do something different. This is life doing it for me as opposed to me. And I'm going to take massive action and be a stronger man or woman on the other side. Those are the people I want to help get to that other side. And because they're ready, willing, and able for a paradigm shift.
I call that the sunny side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
I refer to it a great deal on my show, so I decided to do a show on it the other day and describe
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
You've got people that are in the dark, on the dark side of the street. They see
Mm-hmm.
people, the street that's got sun in it, people on the other side, sunny, happy, purposeful, meaningful,
Right.
and they're still in the anger, the disillusion, the despair, whatever has got them into the darkness, but they can see the light. They can
Mm-hmm.
walk out into every time, and I say, don't necessarily walk straight out into the sunlight. Get out onto the sidewalk where the shade is. You're out of
Mm-hmm.
the dark, but you're in the shade. Walk
Mm-hmm.
parallel to the light for a while until you feel comfortable enough to stepping into that
Mm-hmm.
light,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now the people on the other side, they're now there to help you with the skills, the tools, the wisdom that you need to apply. They can't do it for you.
Absolutely.
You need to apply so
Mm-hmm.
that you can not only walk on the street, refortifying and building and finding your own existence, your own essence. You then become the other side of the sunny street and an
Right.
illumination for someone else. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're not willing to come out of the dark, we can't help you. We can just shed that light,
Mm-hmm.
right? Head for the light. But if you're not
Absolutely.
willing to take it, so this is, why this particular show is called Your Health is Your Choice,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
And it's your
Absolutely.
choice for a reason. There is always a solution. There is always an answer,
Mm-hmm.
but we've got to be willing to seek it out, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
it's not just carte blanche buying what you've been given,
Mm-mm.
right? It's like, how do you, okay, I've received a diagnosis, or I'm on burnout. I recognize that. What can I do about it? And as
Mm-hmm.
you said, it isn't just reading a headline, it's content. People say with these shows, well, why don't you just have 10-minute shows? I said, that's just the introduction. I'm
Mm-hmm.
about content. I'm
Mm-hmm.
about peeling back the onions and getting to the core of the matter. I want people to walk
Absolutely.
away with
Mm-hmm.
a mind full of wisdom that they're ready to apply. Because my motto is listen, learn, and apply.
Right.
But we've got to, out of our own free will, recognize something is wrong and be willing to reach out to the people with the skills and with the tools to help navigate and put it right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so very important that we take that ownership, because nobody can live your life for you. That's
Absolutely.
your life to live. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you living it so much in stress and anguish? I've been there. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's awful. The despair is awful. Somebody's come in, into your guts and just pulled your guts and your heart right out. And
Mhm,
don't tell me to snap out of it. This is,
mhm.
not, it is something that is so beyond the control.
Right.
When you are back in control, that is when you do something about it, not when you're in the despair, when you come out of that. Because it
Absolutely.
goes in waves and you go, I don't want to feel like that anymore. So
Hmm.
what can I do about it?
No, it's so true. And I think that the time not to make big decisions is when you're emotional, but to be able
Yes.
to take that deep breath, put out more oxygen in your brain, then you get more focused and then you can make the decision. Because like you said, you won't get to the point to say, I hate feeling like that if you're always acting like that. You got to give
Yes.
yourself a chance to decompress and kind of reflect on what happened, how did I feel, when did I start feeling that way, what triggered it. I tell you,
Mm.
if we can find out what triggers us, then
Yes.
we can really focus on it and hopefully live in the moment rather than letting the past or anything in the future start to trigger us. Because I'll tell you, anytime you live in depression or
Mm.
depression of the past or fear of the future, it's the worst way to be.
It's crippling.
It is. It is.
It,
And a lot of caregivers get there too because they talk, there's the resentment sets in if they don't take care of themselves.
mhm.
They start to resent their own life and they start to resent the loved one they're taking care of
Yeah.
when they fully know it's not that person's fault,
No.
you know?
It's just
So,
that they're so utterly spent,
hmm.
right? And it's like, I don't have an inch for me, never mind an inch for you, but here I am giving you a yard,
Right.
And it's like, well, what are you giving it on? Right? A vehicle without fuel, it's going to come to a stop until you
Absolutely
fill it
will.
up again. So
Absolutely will.
look at yourself as a vehicle that needs to be fortified. And it's not just getting some good sleep, it's doing something that lifts you up, that
Mhm.
regenerates you, that gives you a sense of cheer and joy, right?
Absolutely.
Because the
Absolutely.
more you're in that joy and the more you're in that loving energy, the more you will energize yourself, where that means you've got more to give.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of times, very often, caregivers don't know how to ask for help because when we're growing up and in school, are we ever taught how to ask for help?
No,
No, no, we're taught how to give and do things for other people, and many of us haven't learned how to receive
no.
well. I always tell people that when they offer me something, I'm like the guy with the comma. I'll say thank you, comma, and what can I do for you? I don't know how to say thank you, period, and just accept their gracious
Yes,
offering. And sometimes when we don't know how to receive, we're also doing a disservice for the person giving to us because they
yes,
want to give to us, and we're kind of insulting them by not being able to accept it. You know, because all the
100%.
good hormones that we get released,
Yeah,
people who are compassionate and they give, they feel better, and the people who receive it feel better. So why can't the giver also receive and the receiver also give? The reciprocal giving is the best way to give.
I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because I was the giver, doing everything, trying to always smooth things over.
Right.
Right now, like I'm empathic, so highly sensitive, and so I hated a bad atmosphere.
Mhm.
So trying to smooth things over, etc. Um, fearful for a long time,
Mhm. Mhm.
living in the fear, trying to, don't let things escalate, and always kind of being there for other people, even when I was depleted.
Right.
And sometimes giving of yourself is something that you truly are, and spending your essence does rejuvenate you.
Hmm.
It really does. But the learning to ask for help, well, it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of selfishness, right? No, you're meant to be there for other people. What do you mean you're asking others for help? Or
Right.
it's an admittance that I can't cope.
Yeah, I'm a failure, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, there are so many things. Somebody told me a couple weeks ago that they believe I'm in the business of redefining what it means to man up, because I'm
Mm,
trying to get men to be both strong and empathic at the same time, and we can do that. I mean, a lot of times men don't know how to be compassionate and empathic and protect the boundaries. You can protect
yes.
your self identity and protect yourself while you're still giving to others. You don't have to get walked all over, but a lot of men, myself included, thought it was an either or.
Yes.
that I'm either going to get walked all over and take advantage of, or I'm going to be the one,
Yeah.
doing it. And I don't feel like being the one to do it, so I'll just take the hit. And that's not the way it needs to
Boot
be.
marks all over you, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes. And that
ridiculous.
is called martyrdom. Right.
Yeah, the martyr, yeah,
Right. And you
martyr
become,
syndrome. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, no, I'm not a martyr. What would you like?
I know. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And very easy to do. And yes, you're completely right. We do not teach our boys to have empathy, to have compassion. Um, I did a show the other day, and it's like, which word is most important to you? And I'll get compassion, because you can't have love
Mhm.
without compassion,
Right.
right? You can't have kindness,
Hmm.
caring without compassion.
Hmm. Yep.
Compassion is a willingness to care,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And if we could teach our boys and our men to simply step into compassion, into caring, like, what if you were in those other people's shoes?
Hmm.
How would you feel if you could have that empathy of, oh God, I wouldn't feel good at like that? Well, no, if you don't feel good just thinking about the shoes they're in,
Hmm.
you've stepped into compassion. Now you'll
Hmm.
step more into action.
Right.
What
Right.
can I do about it? And when we teach our men and women as well, but women more or less have it, but men,
Hmm.
are still struggling with it.
Hmm.
This, well, I don't want to be a sissy, manhood is sucking it up and beating somebody else up
Right.
about it. No, your vulnerability and the fact that you can cry and that you can care, right,
Yeah.
shows more manhood in you than
Right.
ever.
Well, yeah, and you know what? And some men are still going to think that's all, all talk what you're
Wokeism and
saying, but
wooey, yeah.
right. But if you look at some science, though, I've been
Yes.
doing a lot of research on it, that our tears have natural toxins in them. So,
Hmm.
God gave us tears to cry because that way we don't suppress. We're releasing these toxins, these natural toxins. There's also emotional toxins in our body that if we ask for help or we share our story, there that it's released. We release that, but men are taught to suppress these toxins, which is there. We're talking about health and a choice and stuff like that.
Yes.
We choose to listen to society and man up and suck it up and not ask for help and shun our support systems because we're supposed to. What we're doing is we're kind of helping ourselves die a little younger than we have to. Because if you in the states, if you look at the average lifespan of women, it's right around 79 point something, and for men, it's 73.2. So
Hmm.
79.1 versus 73.2 is almost a 6 year gap in that. So we're leaving behind our loved ones and our kids and everything because we're choosing. I'm not saying it's a causal thing, but it's a correlation. It's
Yes,
like
it is.
you choose to suppress all your toxins. That's why 85% of physical ailments are due to unaddressed internal stress.
Yes.
You ignore
Yes.
what's going inside of you, the body's going to say, fine, you're not listening to me. I'm going to give you a headache. I'm going to give you cancer. I'm going to give you this, I'm
Uh-huh.
going to give you
Uh-huh.
that. We start listening to what's going on in ourselves. Our immune system loves it when we release
Oh,
toxins,
yes. Oh, you
right?
care about me.
I
Yay.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also something you mentioned too. With men, like compassion is so important. I think with women, we don't teach them how to be assertive, right? What happens when
Yes.
a woman's assertive nowadays in the workforce? She's called aggressive or the B word, right?
Yes.
And if a man's compassionate, he's called a wimp or
Yeah.
whatever. The P word. I mean, but I mean, the thing is, we're so used to putting labels on people. You act this way. I'm gonna say you're this. But
Yeah.
women have we each have male and female
Yeah.
energy.
Yin and
Masculine and
yang.
feminine
Uh-huh.
energy, right? Yeah, and so I say there's a quadrant there. There's healthy masculinity and toxic masculinity. There's healthy femininity and toxic femininity,
Yes.
right? And we have a choice which ones we want to be. I can be
Right.
healthy masculine to be just strong and empathic, and I can and a woman can be healthy feminine by being assertive and still, a
A
comforter,
nurture.
a
Yeah.
nurturer. Yeah. So
And the other thing is called boundaries.
yeah, yeah. I learned about that word a few years ago.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
it's
know
not
it existed.
borders. It's not borders, it's
No,
boundaries.
it's protection. It's
It's
boundaries.
protection. It's
Yeah.
like, this is my energy level. Now,
Hmm.
people have heard me talk about this, but I have fibromyalgia and I've had it for 30 years.
Okay.
Right. And it's a neurological thing where the wiring in your body is all off and it's sending mixed signals. And most of the time, you've just kind of got this through your fiber optics,
Mm.
this
Mm.
bzzz going on. And it
Right.
causes
Right.
it puts a lot of stress on the body because it's the body is always in a right like this, like a
Mhm.
nervous state. If somebody's
Right.
really in a high nervous state, you can feel it through your body when that's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
where we're at all the time.
Hmm.
I've had so many opinions on it through the 30 years and
Right.
I've interviewed, many doctors and other people with it. And it is a state of nervousness that we can't control because the brain is doing
Hmm.
something, they're sending out those messages.
Right.
But when people are in that state of unable to breathe, unable to release,
Mm.
unable to calm the muscles down, calm the nerves down, which calms the
Hmm.
muscles, calms everything else down,
Right. Yeah.
then dis-ease starts to show because the
Absolutely.
balance is out.
Hmm.
Case in point, my dad was 45 when he died. He was
Oh.
40 in his first heart attack, but he was a victim of the war,
Hmm.
right? So fighter pilot in the war, would go in at night, bring out spies out of Italy. He was a squadron leader, so protect the bombers, and he's fighting the other people.
Hmm. Yep.
He was a yachtsman, he was a racing car driver, all of that. When it
Wow.
came to kind of making decisions in his own life, he would kind of wimp out. He
Mm-hmm.
ran a business, right? Ran it very, very well. But eventually all of this post-traumatic stress and everything, because of course you
Yeah.
came back from the war, you didn't talk about it, you got on
Right.
with life, man,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Absolutely.
And we see this with our veterans today.
Yeah.
And eventually something snapped and his heart gave. And unfortunately, the doctor said to him, "You've got 3 months to live." Well, my dad got back into his proverbial racing car and fighter pilot thing and just, "Come on, Jeff, come and get me." And he lived another 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Had they told him, change your lifestyle, you need to, look at meditation or change your diet or this or
He
that.
wouldn't listen.
Well, no, they wouldn't even have known
He
anything
wouldn't
about
even
that
know
in
it
their
back then.
60s,
Do you think he
right?
would have listened if they had that option?
Well, my brother had a heart attack many years later, and he did. He
Yeah.
went vegan.
He
He's an
did.
avid
Okay.
walker. He
Okay.
keeps his stress level down.
All right.
He had another heart attack 9 years later, and they said to him, "You would have been dead because you have a defective heart," which is probably what my father had.
Oh, there you
But
go. Yeah.
because of his lifestyle, right, he changed it
Right.
around altogether. But there
Yeah.
was no talk of lifestyle at
Yeah.
that time.
It wasn't. No, they
Right?
know.
We
They knew
know
that.
more
Yeah,
today.
we
We
do.
know more,
It's
and
true.
we can't make an excuse. We
Yeah.
know what to do,
Yeah.
but we've just got to apply it.
I'll tell you, I'm gonna say it's easier said than done because you think like for me, I had 50 years of bad habits, and so now I'm 56, so I'm working on it. So yeah, when we are trying to develop a new habit, we're also working on breaking old habits,
Yes, you've got
and
to get
you
rid of
need to
the old
do it.
programming.
You need to
Yeah.
do it
Yes.
simultaneously. Otherwise, it's not going to work because you don't want to have two habits colliding with each other, one good and
Right.
one bad. So, but you're right, and interesting. You talked about energy, and I've noticed that with my son, he's got a certain frequency, right, and
Yes.
I've got a certain frequency, and if I don't change, my frequency could be up here or up high, and his frequency could be down low, and then it's like two foreign languages.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when I've learned to like when I stopped talking about three topics at the same time, I changed my frequency, which was
Yes.
closer to his. And because I was willing to change my frequency closer to his, then he was able to
Yes.
change
To
his
rise up.
frequency closer to mine. And we met in the middle. And so he's learning that it doesn't always have to be the way he's used to it
Right.
because somebody else was willing to listen. And so I'm noticing that he's becoming less rigid about
Mm.
certain things
Hmm.
because I've become less rigid about certain things. I've become more flexible. And so he's willing to give it a shot. We even had a talk the other day about doing things scared, as uncomfortable as it feels. Doing new things scared is okay
Yeah.
because then we can learn what it's like if we do it versus if we don't. At least it gives ourselves a chance of succeeding.
Exactly. The willingness to try.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah,
And that goes for anybody across the board. I don't care.
true.
We look at autism, we look at Down syndrome, we look at all things, we talk spectrum, but we don't talk what we quote normal people's spectrum. We all
Right.
have a spectrum of
We
some
do.
sort,
Yeah,
right?
the human spectrum. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I have dyslexia and ADD,
Hmm.
right? So that is a spectrum in itself, right? So
Absolutely.
we've all got a challenge, and it's not they're out to get us,
Mm-mm.
right, or out to beat us. No, it's out there to show us actually how resilient and how incredible we really are, how
Very
we can
true.
really navigate, and that we're not meant to navigate things down the highway. We're meant to take the side roads because
Hmm.
they're more important.
Right.
Um, and to really pay attention to life in its simplicity. When
Hmm.
we slow down,
Yeah.
you've heard a couple of my shows. I'm sure I referred to it about being the
Yes.
hare and the tortoise.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
used to be the hare. I had a vision because I'm very visionary,
Yeah.
chase the vision, want to do it
Mhm.
now,
Yeah.
right? And then because of the fibro and a few other things, I had to completely slow down.
Mm.
And now I've become the tortoise, but I realize the benefit as I
Yeah.
slowly go along, the people I
Mhm.
meet along the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
the things that I observe that before I used to rush over,
Hmm.
right? And it's the more in tunement I have with myself and
Hmm.
with the earth and with the universe because I am more present rather
That's
than
so
chasing
important.
something.
Uh-huh.
And I think,
Absolutely.
that's one thing. It doesn't matter spectrum or not spectrum, caregiver or not caregiver, where we all are caregivers of ourselves first,
Hmm.
um, is where is home to you? Home is in the very core of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That core is a navigator, it's a compass, it's a protector.
Hmm.
If your core disagrees with something, don't do it. It doesn't need to justify why not. Just don't do it. It's there
Hmm.
protecting you. If your core says, yes, go for it, it's got you. Step out into that wonderment.
Yep.
But where is your core? Are you in tune with your core?
Hmm.
The very essence of who you are, right? And that's the journey we need to take because then we become more protective, more caring of who we are
Absolutely.
and our
Hmm.
core and know how to build those boundaries and know when we can rise up and when we need to calm down.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of it has to do when we're not comfortable in our own skin.
Mm.
I mean, we end up being a people pleaser, which is not, it's not a healthy way to be
No,
because
I think they
people
should call that a
pleasers.
disease in itself.
Yeah, well, we end up wearing all these different masks to fit in,
Yes.
like a chameleon, right?
Yeah.
So, how do we know who we are if we're trying to be a ton of different other people? We're not.
Yes.
We don't know who we are, or if we do know who we are, we're trying to avoid being who we are because we don't think we're good enough that someone's going to like us. So, all the masks and so many people wear masks
Mm.
nowadays, and they won't even admit it because they've totally lost track of how many they've been wearing.
Yes. Yes. And it's, yeah, I call it, bending into a pretzel, right? And
Yeah.
it's like it's damn uncomfortable. It
It
really
is.
is.
It
And
is.
it's like when you
Yeah.
finally go, oh, no, I just need to straighten up. I'm no more pretzeling.
Yeah.
It's you like me, you don't like me. I'm not going to be offended. And that when it comes into when you find that journey of self-love,
Yeah.
when you find
Yeah.
that journey of really, really caring for yourself,
Yeah.
then those are your boundaries. Your opinion of me is no business of mine. It's yours. You must own it.
Yeah.
I don't need to take it on,
Yeah.
right? I,
Yeah.
I I know in my own conscience, am I giving enough? Right? I know in my own self, is it costing me more energy to put out
Hmm.
than it is to rejuvenate? I
Right.
know because I'm listening to myself on my various levels. And it's okay if someone doesn't get me. It's
Hmm.
okay, right? Why are
True.
you trying to bend into a pretzel for them to approve of you? You don't need their approval. You just need your own.
No, it's such a refreshing feeling to be able to say that and believe it.
Yes.
There were years ago I didn't believe that,
Yeah.
of myself. But you have to do in order to get to where I am now. You got to put the work in,
Yes.
and the transformation is well worth it. But it's a lot of work, and unless you have faith and a desire to improve yourself, you're not going to get there. You have to really believe in yourself that you're worth it, right? A lot of us don't believe we're worth
No.
getting good things or being treated well. And I don't know where that comes from. Probably from like, I mean, the brain's inherently negative, and
Hmm.
so mostly because it's trying to protect us because it doesn't want us to get eaten by that saber-toothed tiger that's chasing us. But
Right.
I'm like, I haven't seen a saber-toothed tiger in 2025, so I doubt it's chasing
Well,
me.
they come in a
Uh,
different uniform these
well,
days.
this is true. This is true. But I'm such a firm believer in men and women really working together. There's too much
I
divide right now,
absolutely.
and I know that we think differently. I mean, that's scientific proof that women, men and women think differently. The brain fires differently.
Yeah.
So let's think of it as a foreign language. If we need to communicate with each other, we need to learn that thinking language of the opposite gender. It would do so well if men want to learn how women think and when women want to learn how men think, and then just like the frequency and the energy I told you about my son, we can do the same as man and woman. It'll just enhance our communication and then make it a stronger relationship. And all this is so important because one of my missions in life, it's a big mission, is reducing the divorce rate
Uh-huh.
in the United States and anywhere else, and also the male suicide rate. I mean, in
Yes.
the U.S., men are 50% of the population, 80% of the suicides. And
Wow.
when you look at why men take their lives, it's
Hmm.
usually because of a lack of connection and
Hmm.
isolation. We
Hmm.
isolate ourselves. We're not connected. I always say when women have maybe, let's say, a small group of female friends, but you guys build this vertical friendship because you build
Yes.
roots and you get to know each other and to the core. Men like to build these horizontal friendships where we can have
Yeah.
a ton of friends, but we don't talk about stuff beneath the surface. We'll talk about sports and
Shallow.
clothes and women,
Yeah.
and think when we leave the bar after drinking, when the hangover subsides, our problems go away, and they don't.
No, they
They're
don't.
usually exacerbated. So, I mean, I really think men can learn a lot from women about how to build a relationship, and women can learn a lot from men on how to still be assertive
Yes.
and still care about themselves. And we can, if we work together, um, I got a strong man with a strong woman raise strong children. And
Yes. Oh, yes.
you have a strong community, and that's what we're lacking right now. And not just the United States, I think every country
Yeah.
I've talked about it. It seems to be like a universal thing that men and women need to come together.
Most certainly. 100%. And I'm going to talk about your book in a moment, but on
Sure.
that subject of of men and women, we are, everybody has a yin yang inside of them, right? That's the
Right.
whole part of it. Um,
Hmm.
this, we've had men believing they've had to be the he-man for
Right.
so long, and then women, being the baby makers. And of course, you've got a society in the States, especially right now, that wants to turn that clock back. And
Right.
that all comes from insecurity. If the
Hmm.
woman has power, what's she going to make me do? Well, one of the things she's going to make you do with her common sense love is like change your opinion, change
Hmm.
your perspective,
Yeah.
kind of grow up now. Let's we can't sit there whining anymore. What we have to do is, what are you going to do about it? Because that's,
Hmm.
as women, we see a problem, we address it, we get on with
Right.
it.
Hmm.
Right, where with the men, they get angry and they start blaming, and it's like, no, no, it's sorry, it's like you got a cut on your knee, we got to clean it up and put that band-aid on. And it's
Hmm.
like, so stop being human. Oh no, I can take more cuts. No. And I think a lot of it is that same attitude that men bring to, oh, I can face anything. You can face anything but yourself. And if
Right.
you really want to know what courage is, what resilience is, what strength is, what great ability is, then go in. Go in and look at all your old programming that is in your DNA, that's in your ancestral, that is environmental, that is societal. Look
Hmm.
at all of that and go, God, if you were a computer, my computer would be at a dead stop right now,
Mm.
because all of these old programs, some of them fill a virus, they have to go. Look at
Right.
what you need to delete, right? And then
Right.
insert a new program. But that new program, it takes 8 positives to undo 1 negative.
It's like that in customer service too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
So the
yeah.
more you
Yeah.
feed the positive,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
and let
Mhm.
go of the negative, the more that
Mhm.
positive and more positivity will grow,
Yep.
right? It's
Absolutely.
In my own coaching, they used to have people write down two columns. Everything that you feel is against you,
Hmm.
right? Everything you dislike about your life, your world, your everything else, and everything you're grateful for. And you'd see the grateful list about an inch and a yard on
Yeah,
the other. And I go,
unfortunately.
okay,
Yeah.
now which one are you feeding?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the one you're feeding is going to grow. So if you
Hmm.
feed the gratitude and start looking at things to be grateful for, that column will grow and the other column will decrease. But it
Yeah.
requires your participation.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one way to really get men especially to really think about that. If I'm when I'm coaching men, actually the first session, I ask them to pretend right now today you're on your deathbed
Mm.
and tell me the top three regrets you have right now.
Yes.
And you list the first three regrets because it makes them think about it. That's where you
Yes.
turn inward and say, okay, what do I regret if I'm dying right now? And then you look at those regrets, and 99% of the time, we have control over
Mm-hmm.
those regrets. So let's do it now. Let's eliminate those regrets now. So when we are on our deathbed, we don't have them anymore.
Right.
And if it becomes that important to you, you're going to get it done.
Yeah. When you're aware, you care. When you care, you do something about it, but you can't be unaware anymore.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's true. You have to be accountable when
Yeah.
you once you're aware and you
Mm-hmm.
got to do something about it.
Exactly. It's not
Otherwise
going to go
it
away
gets
and you
too
can't la
no,
la 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 anymore. You know,
no,
right? You've got
no.
to address it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
which is really important. Now let's talk
Yeah,
about your book, which because I
sure.
love the title of it. Um, I'll have what she's having, of course. If you've ever seen that movie, you'll understand what
Yep,
that's about. Which
absolutely.
I often refer to myself, but it's a memoir of a reformed people pleaser yourself.
Yes, it
So
is.
I'm sure that this was very much therapeutic for you
Mhm.
in writing this book and being aware of
Yeah,
how people pleasing you were.
yeah,
What was the core reason for that? Because there's always a core reason. And then
yeah.
taking the journey to change the narrative within yourself.
No, absolutely. Well, I mean, it all like it happened. Let me see. In 2018, I told you before that I had four faith-shaking moments in 9 months. I got divorce was final, and then I got fired from my last hospital job because I totally lost focus on my work because I was trying to save the marriage, not
Mm,
knowing I was not going to be able to save it. And I was a man who I realized my self identity was based on two things: my marriage and my profession. And in 6 months, I lost both.
mhm,
And I was about to step into the pity party and be the
mhm.
victim. 10 days after I was fired, my son had suicidal ideations, my middle
Oh,
child, and we had to find help for him. And that was in October of 18. And 2 months later, my dad unexpectedly got sick and passed away.
ah,
And that like rocked my world. So that was
mhm,
the 2x4 because even though um, I knew something was off, I didn't want to be here anymore. And I
mhm.
thought the only way I could is I defined my purpose. But if I looked inward for the purpose at that time, that I wouldn't have
Yeah,
found it. So I had to look
right.
in the eyes of my three kids and my mother and said, I'm going to fight through this and I'm going to do it for them. I'm going to help them get to the other side. The way I did it though was the way men are supposed to: suck it up, man up,
Yes,
shun your
yeah.
support systems. I mean, I did play the blame game after those four things because it was my wife's fault for the divorce.
Mhm.
It was my boss's fault for the firing. It's my fault for my son and God's fault for my dad. So I
Right.
decided to shun everything and just suck it up, right? On the other side, though, I was an empty man. Like I had helped them enough that they could go from, go be able to cope, right? But I was done. And so I always wanted to run my own company, but I didn't know what to do. I wanted to start a healthcare consulting company because that's where I was in healthcare. But when my dad died, all my excuses came up, and so I
Mhm.
just ended up buying a franchise because I thought it was a good shortcut. Because
Yes.
if you buy a franchise, they have already the operations are there. It's a system that works, and I'll just make a lot of money. Well, I that was just me blowing smoke. So it was probably around June of 21. I had to sell the marital home. And I said, I've always wanted to write a book. And I ran across this editor who her thing was how to write a book in 90 days without writing a word. That was right
Mm,
up Drew's alley. I didn't want to have to do the old fashioned. So what we did is we had Zoom because
yes.
because COVID had hit, and we're doing Zoom, and I'm telling my story to her and anybody else who would listen. And then we had the transcription software on the other side, Otter, that would just transcribe it. So I was writing a book by
Yes.
speaking. But as I was doing it and kept repeating certain things, I started to feel better and heal. And then I started thinking, this is weird. I'm healing myself. Let me look back at all the decisions I made in the past and let me see if I can find a pattern.
Hmm.
And there was a pattern. Every decision I made, I got this like pit in my stomach. It was like I call it a vibration in the heart, really.
Yeah.
That was my intuition saying,
Hmm.
don't do it that way. And I would always ignore it.
Right.
Right. And then I realized that I was watching it was a movie called Runaway Bride. Do you ever see that movie with Richard Gere
Yes.
and Julia Roberts? It She ended up walking away from like four or five or six fiancés. And one of the things that Richard Gere asked as a journalist, he went to all the fiancés and asked what her favorite eggs were.
Mm.
And each fiance said they were, and they would say, like, one guy would say, like, say, sunny side up, just like me. The next guy would say, scrambled, just like me. So Richard Gere started to think that she was a people pleaser, that she was just liking whatever eggs the guy
Yes.
liked because she was going to get married. And at the end, she decides to test all the eggs in her kitchen. And then she yells to Richard Gere when she sees him in the next scene. She says, Benedict, eggs Benedict. Those are my favorite eggs. I started crying because my editor told me to watch that movie because she knew something was off. And when I realized it, I was like, geez, I'm a people pleaser. And then
Mm.
I started remembering stories like anytime I would go out with somebody, whether it was before my wife or after the divorce, we'd be at the restaurant. I'd know what I want. I would like want the steak or the burger or something like that. Waitress would come and ask the woman I was with, what would you like? And she would say what she liked. And they say, sir, what would you like? And I'm about to say what I want. And then something would like make me stop. And I would say, oh, the salmon, that sounds good. I'll have what she's having. And I,
Hmm.
and then I'll be like, why did you just do that again? And so
Yes.
I realized, that I thought subconsciously that if I liked the same thing she likes, she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, we have that in common,"
Yeah.
and then she'd like me more. Very not a very good way to live. So that's why I came up with the book. I named it the way I did,
Mhm.
and I know I'm not reformed yet. We all, even the biggest experts slip every now and then, but I have tools that I built in the book and in my podcast and in my coaching that helps me to remember and how to get back to being grounded and be myself. And it's very
Mm.
important to get back to that, be your authentic self. It's the most healthy way to live.
And of course, you're your authentic self when you're born, right up to the time you go to school when they conform you, right? So,
Absolutely. Yep.
going
Hmm.
back to that reset, and
Hmm.
again, you became aware, which yes, which yes, I fully relate to that. Oh, you order for me, right? And I know what I
Hmm.
want, and
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and yes, it's like you don't want to rock the boat, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like get over yourself, Sarah, really.
Yeah.
Um, and we've also got to understand that everything that we do and every memory we have is held in our cellular structure, and there are
Right.
trillions of cells in our body. So
Right.
you think you've done the work, and all of a sudden something comes up and you found that you've reacted to something in a particular
Hmm.
way, or or you're feeling panic because an old feeling comes up, and all that is just a cellular memory, and it's like it comes up, and you look at it, go, "Oh, you again." Well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, all your friends left years ago.
I
Here's
love
the
that.
door. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
because I'm sorry, I just don't need your service anymore. All right, so
Absolutely.
don't get panicked about it. It's just this.
Right.
But you do ask, well, what? Why did that come up? What's going on around me
Hmm.
that's triggered that? But
Yeah.
do not think you're going backwards. It's just up there
Nope.
to test you or to be released.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, none of that stuff's ever going to leave our memories.
Right.
They'll pop up every now and then, but if we really do some self-discovery and realize why that came up again, there's part of that control, right? We can control our thoughts. We have like 70,000 thoughts a day. We
Yes.
only remember about 1,400 of them.
If
That's it.
that,
If
if
that, yeah,
that.
very small percentage. But the thing is, if we stay in the moment, and when we're working off the conscious part of our brain, we start practicing good habits about
Yes.
self-care, then those become the habits that are end up in our subjective, our subconscious.
Yes.
And then if that's carried through, if good habits are in our subconscious, then we're going to be okay. But we have to work at it while we're conscious to, make those a habit.
The conscious choice. Yes. The thing
Yes.
is, the wisdom is always accessible.
Hmm.
It's always downloadable. God, universe, spirit,
Absolutely.
source, energy, whatever you want to call it. I call
Yep.
it universal wisdom. It's there to download at any time.
Right.
Right? It resonates with the heart in truth. It gives it to the spirit in action for the mind to know with
Hmm.
clarity. One, it needs to know when it needs
Yep.
to know it.
Yep.
If we just stay in mind, we're staying kind of in ego and we're staying in expectation.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, the mind is just waiting for instruction.
Hmm.
So when you
Yep.
give it from the wisdom, right, then it knows exactly what to do with
Yep.
something.
Hmm.
And the wisdom comes when you are present with self.
Hmm.
That wisdom comes when you are completely open and ready to receive, and it will come in all sorts of ways.
Yep.
It
Hmm.
resonates with your core, where your core goes yes or no, right? And you listen to it. Otherwise, you're going to get the cosmic
Sorry.
2x4. You listen to it.
Yep.
But it's also a place where you can go to where I feel quite at home with myself.
Yep.
And I
Absolutely.
enjoy my own company. I'm not
Hmm.
chasing, I'm not running away, I'm not fearful of what I meet. I am at home with self.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the ultimate journey, being at home with self.
Absolutely. It's the alignment, your virtues, your values, all are aligned. And yeah, that's definitely a piece. I mean, it was nice. I don't remember the last time except for recently that I've been experiencing that. I couldn't remember the last time, 20,
Mm-hmm.
30, 40 years. But you're right though. When we're born, the world is our oyster, and then we're set out to everybody else, and then we can get corrupted. But
Yes.
it's good to have mentors around us who
Mm-hmm.
have lived through it, who are we're willing to listen to. That way we can catch some of this stuff earlier.
Yes.
I didn't
You can
have to be
become
50.
aware.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
aware earlier. I mean, I didn't have to
Yeah.
wait till I was 50 to become aware. But there's also a difference with men and women that men's brains develop a lot later than women's brains do. I always tell women who are like in their 30s, I said, just marry a guy 9 years older than you. Then it'll be easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I mean,
And somebody that's have been willing to do the work on themselves.
well, that's
Right.
that's the thing, and actually, that I believe that's part of why we do see so many divorces.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of the two people in the marriage are working on themselves.
Yes.
And the other one is just an autopilot. So you could have the one with the blind spots married to the woman number three, right? You could have
Yeah.
man number one with woman number three because she's finally working on herself, and then you wonder like, why are they out of alignment?
Mm.
Usually they got
Well,
a
you're
little
not
bit
the
working.
person I married. No,
Yeah,
well, hopefully not.
no, oh
Hopefully we
no,
evolve. That's what
exactly,
we're meant
yeah.
to do,
And that
right?
and that I actually read something where and it makes sense to me. It's like women expect the man to change
Hmm.
and men expect the woman to stay the same.
Yes.
And women are the ones who change and work on themselves and men don't. So it's the belief is opposite. But I think if we communicate better when we're first dating, and
Yeah.
and I really think there's four taboo topics that we're at least we in the States are told not to talk about out loud, and that's sex, religion, politics, and money.
Money. Money.
Those four things, right? And one of those four is usually the thing that trips up a marriage.
Yes. Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And it's like you also need to know where is their moral compass. And when I say
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
it's like if they say degrading things, is it coming
Yep.
out of habit or is it what they truly believe in?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's like, don't be afraid to call them out on it. If they
Yeah.
don't like it and they're unwilling to address it, then thank you very much. Nice knowing you. right?
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
if they're actually unaware of what they're saying, oh, I
Hmm.
wasn't aware that that's how it came across. I'm willing to
Exactly.
change. Then you know that you've got somebody who's willing to take that journey. And they're
Yeah.
not taking that journey to please you. They're taking that journey to align themselves because
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
strong people,
Yeah.
myself and them, each in their own strength, coming together as an us will make
Hmm.
the us so much more
Right.
solidified.
And I also think the way someone approaches somebody and calls them out on it, I like saying that the first three words in every sentence are the most important three words. So, out of curiosity, for my curiosity,
Yeah.
why did you say that? Is it
Yes.
because you really believe it, or because curiosity? If we're always curious, that's great. That means
Yes.
means we're in the
It's
moment.
healthy.
It is
It's
healthy.
healthy.
So
And
we got to
that
let
we're
the
meant to be wondrous, curious creatures.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. The minute we give up curiosity, I think we're dead. It's like ridiculous.
And I'm have just turned 71 by the time the show airs. Um, and I started my whole journey of podcasting at 57. And I've
Mm,
interviewed people that
yeah.
have discovered things in their 70s, 80s, even 90s,
Yeah.
right? We never stop growing. We
No,
never stop
no,
learning. We never
no.
stop
Right.
becoming, right? It's just we may slow down.
Right.
We most certainly change our priorities,
Yes, we
but
do.
at the same time, if we've stopped being wondrous and exploring,
Hmm.
we are betraying ourselves.
That's true.
We're
That's
doing a
true.
disservice to ourselves. So it's
Yep.
really, really important that we're always in that. I didn't know that. I'd love to know more. So
Yeah.
hence the reasons for all these podcasts. That's the
Absolutely.
reason I've done that for all of these years is to bring you.
Hmm.
I didn't know that. Now I know. Right.
Hmm.
So, and
Hmm.
then it's up to you what you're going to do with it. Right.
Absolutely.
But I hope
Absolutely.
that you're going to use it in
Hmm.
some form or other.
Very true. Very true.
So, caregiving isn't something just about caregiving of other people. It's caregiving of ourselves so we can care for other people, whether you are a caregiver of someone who is
Hmm.
in an illness or
Hmm.
has a challenge, or whether it is you're just in a business where you're caring for your clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caringness is a service that we are to one another. That's our contribution.
Right.
But if you're not caring for yourself, then you are not giving honestly to others. So that caregiving has to be given to self first.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's selfless, not selfish.
Yes.
Like, when you're in the airplane, they teach you about the oxygen mask.
Yes.
I mean, no one pays attention to that. Have you ever sit in the airplane? No one's paying it. No one's listening
No.
to teaching you about the oxygen mask. If they were listening, it would make sense and they'd be doing it in their real lives,
Yeah.
not just on the airplane. But it's so true. I mean, if you give, give, give until it's empty and you reach in and there's nothing else to give, then you're done. You're
Yeah.
done, and your loved one's done because you got to really be at the top of your game in order to be able to take care of somebody at the top of your game because I don't know. I don't know
It's a
how.
rave of frequency.
Well, I don't know how I was doing it for so long, but I did. Somebody talk to me about something called the giver's fix.
Hmm.
When you give, you release all these endorphins, right?
Yeah.
And then serotonin, there's the longer
Yeah.
lasting chemical,
Hmm.
and you feel great, and so you do it more because it feels great, and you
Hmm.
do it more because it feels great, but you don't pause enough to give yourself a chance to let
To
somebody give
replenish.
something to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And now that I'm learning to put a period and just say thank you when
Hmm.
someone says, I sit with it, and I'm like, that felt good, and you also know the person really meant it.
That was their pleasure to give
Yeah,
and your
yeah,
pleasure to receive. Now
yeah,
everybody's just being fed,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
That's the important thing. Um, it
Absolutely.
isn't about you sacrificing or there are struggles in life. There doesn't have to be strife, right?
Right.
To ask for help, which was one that I challenged with for a long time. I get offered help all the time now, and I'm just I take it now. Whereas
Hmm.
before I'd always feel,
Yeah.
but yeah, but if they give me help, what are they going to want in return? And now people are
Yeah.
now just giving me help to help me because they know what I'm about, they know who I am, and they know that I will automatically pay it forward, right?
That's
And that
yes. That's
and
so
that's
true.
that's the thing is then I don't have to pay them back. is they're giving me to help my life better so they know that I've got more
You,
energy and abundance to
yep.
pay it forward.
Yep, and you can maybe give it back to somebody else. That's the
Exactly.
thing, that when we do something for somebody, we must do it because we want to do it, not because we expect something from them.
Exactly.
Now, in turn, we may get something from somebody else because we
Yes.
gave to that first person. We never should go into a relationship and give because we expect something in return. Number one, if it doesn't come back, then we're going to regret,
Yep.
helping somebody, and that's not why you do it. But the thing is, if you always have these expectations where you cannot control someone's behavior, and then you're going to be disappointed your whole life. What's the point of doing that to yourself,
Exactly.
right?
So do not look with the expectation of return.
In
Do
return,
it
yeah,
out of, the out of the heart. You're
yeah,
doing because you care,
yep,
right? You've got the ability to help someone,
hmm,
right? And if it lifts them up to a higher vibration, that helps everyone,
absolutely, yeah,
right? And they in then turn will be there to help someone else. And that's what it's all about. But first and foremost, you've got to help yourself. You've got to be at one with your core. You've got to acknowledge your own limits.
hmm,
You've got to
hmm,
know, okay, I've reached that particular borderline here, that if I go over it, I'm going to be depleted. So I need to stop right now and take care of myself. And in doing so, I'll be so much more productive in everything else I do in my life.
very
And
true.
and that, I know for some people who are caregiving of someone that's 24/7 needs help,
Hmm,
then
hmm,
you need to reach out to whatever areas. And I know in America right now, this is probably hard because they're cutting costs left, right, and center on any form of caring. But,
hmm,
it's finding, if the government has cut off the resources for you to have help with caregiving, then go to your churches, go to your community, go to other people and just say, I cannot cope. I need time to have a bath, or I need time to do this and need to do that. And that's not just caring people who are sick, that's for mums, especially single mums that
yeah,
are raising
just yeah,
children,
absolutely,
right? The
absolutely.
greatest gift you can give someone is your time
It's
to give
time.
them
Right.
time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of, you got to turn to your friends who you've helped before. They're going to want to help you back. There's
Exactly.
nonprofits out there, the community
Yes,
there. The thing is, yes, with there's cuts from the government, but I've never been one who wanted to rely on the government,
exactly.
and so, in a way, I always try to find that silver lining I talked about before in any situation. If this can teach us to rely less on the government, more on each other,
Yeah. Bring the
that
village
is
back.
powerful. Bring your community back, bring your village back, build your own community.
Yes,
We don't have to rely on the powers that be to take care of us. We
right.
can take care of ourselves and other people, and build that community right now. Right? You
Exactly.
don't you don't want that to be one of your regrets, that I wish I built a community of like-minded people who will take care of each other. Start doing it right now.
Exactly. And they'll be only too happy if they can,
Yeah,
right? And
absolutely.
just allow people to help you in any which way they can at whatever level. And if somebody can't help
Mhm.
you at the moment because they're at their limit, that's okay,
That's
right?
okay.
But they will know somebody else that can help you, or they can
Yes,
help
they
you somewhere
will.
down the road. So it isn't, well, I asked for help and they couldn't help me. No, there's nothing of
No,
that.
no,
There are plenty of people that will say yes because they
yeah.
can, and there are some people who will say no because they can't at this
They
moment.
can't at this point. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one thing I'm learning too now, that no doesn't mean no forever. No
exactly.
means no right now.
Exactly.
And that's
And
okay.
it's the right now that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no holding grudges or, oh, the person.
No,
No, none of that. Thank you.
no,
That doesn't build a
no,
community.
no.
And be willing to ask your community for the help that you need. That,
Absolutely.
so, my dear, how do people get hold of your book? How do people get hold of you?
The book is on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So it's I'll Have What She's Having, Memoir of a Reformed People Pleaser. I did self-publish, so you'll be able to find it. Profit Compassion is the publisher, and me, Drew Deraney, is the author. I also have a podcast called From Caving In to Crushing It. I would love to have people, watch some episodes, spread the word, and subscribe to it, because I bring people on who are that man and woman number 3. three, ones who have seen the adversity as an opportunity. So that's on YouTube, Profit Compassion. You can find me there. Email drew@profitcompassion.com or my website, profitcompassion.com. And one thing also I'm working on it right now. I'm forming my board of directors because I'm going to be starting a nonprofit for caregivers of children with autism.
Mm.
So I'll be doing that too. So I got a lot on my plate, but it's all worth it.
It is. And, my shameless plug of our book, which is Our Forgotten Children, which I
Yes.
produced last year with 15 different authors in there, and a couple of them on autism. And it's, again, I call it an aware book, because if there are things that they're talking about that we were unaware, now we're aware, we pay more attention to, and where
Right.
we can, we make the changes necessary. And, autism, please stop looking at them. I mean, we have a certain person in health in charge saying, oh, they can never do anything for themselves, they can't wipe their own butt. As please,
Mm,
I have known an incredible amount of very, very, very creative and productive and accomplished people with autism.
right.
And it all depends on the spectrum. And at the same time, it's how do we, as you said, come to their frequency or just above, so they can rise up to us comfortably. Stop
Right.
expecting them to come up to where
Yeah.
you're at.
Right.
It's meet them
Absolutely.
where they're at and
Right.
honor who they are. When they feel trusting, they will rise up to where you're at. But we've all got limitations. And there's some people, oh, no,
Hmm.
no limits. No, we do. We have, you can call them boundaries, you can call them limits.
Hmm.
There's
Right.
only so much I can take on, there's only so much
Hmm.
I can do. And if you don't honor yourself by saying the magic word no,
Hmm.
not at this time, then you are going to end up committing to something that you know you can't give, that's going to burn you out. And then who wins there? So
Absolutely.
learn the magic word. No,
Yep.
not
No,
at this time.
not at this time.
So
Well,
wonderful having you here. And of course, on Facebook, it's Profit Compassion. On
mhm.
Instagram, it's your name.
Yep.
Um, Deraney, Drew,
Hmm.
Drew, and that's the same on LinkedIn. And of course, your YouTube podcast channel. Get your book on Amazon.
Right.
And, it's constantly saying, folks, like, birthdays and Christmas, but Christmas is coming up. You're thinking, well, what can I
Yeah.
give?
There you
You
go.
know somebody that's
Mhm.
probably giving too much. There may be a people pleaser, somebody that needs this kind of reminder, take care of
Hmm.
yourself.
Yeah.
This is a great gift to give them.
Hmm.
All right. And just, it's subtle way of saying, hey, take care of yourself. Right.
That's right.
And this is something I think that needs to be in doctors' offices, and it needs to be in nursing homes for people that are looking after people.
Hmm.
But first, take care of yourself. You cannot help anyone else. Know your boundaries, know your energy, know how much you can give and what you can give,
Hmm.
and know how to ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The bottom line, ask for help. It's
Yep.
okay. That actually is strength. That is actually strength.
It
So
is. It is.
thank you so much, Drew. It's been absolutely wonderful having you
Thank
here,
you, Sarah. Nice to be here.
and for all the work that you're doing. And please, folks, remember, your health is your choice. And when you invest in your health, that means you're investing in your well-beingness. You're becoming at one with yourself, where you can be at home with yourself. And that's coming to the very core essence of who you are. Now you know what you can give, when you can give it, and you know what your boundaries are and when you need to replenish.
Mhm.
It's all a question of you understanding that when you look after yourself, you're looking after everyone else. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there, and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.